it more seriously. I'll respond to the trolls as well, but I would at least take that angle a little more seriously if it came from someone who I at least know to be white. But most of this stuff is coming from anonymous people, and as I said, they play both sides of it, depending on the audience that they're trying to, distract or not have listened to the things that I'm telling them, So, anyways, I want to go on and talk about honor for a minute. Honor is the gift the man gives himself. Many have suggested that my approach is too idealistic. Is there any such thing? Should we lower our standards, or even worse, should we lower the expectations that we have for ourselves? Why should we compromise on the truth, ourselves, or anything else? That's how they have gotten this far already, one compromise at a time. So, of course, I always call it like I see it. If people are engaging in suspect behavior, then I will call them out on it, especially when it comes to the leaders of a movement who are clearly attempting to lead the descent to nowhere. And obviously that's going back to the whole Stormfront issue. They're trying to lead the movement nowhere. 16 years, I think, Stormfront's been online, and what have they accomplished really? How much have they progressed? What's changed? Not a whole lot. Now, I'm not here to tell people how to live their lives or how to conduct themselves. Each man must find his own way. But many have, in fact, lost their way, if they ever truly knew who they were in the first place. Jews need us to forget who we are. Without honor, without the will to stand by our principles, we have nothing worth fighting for, and no position to fight from. If we are not aware of who we are, if we are not true to ourselves, and if we ever stoop to their level, then there is truly no reason to press on and nothing worth fighting for. Men with honor stand by their principles, no matter what the cost of doing so might be. Such men have all the cause in the world to fight on, and absolutely no cause for personal concern over what might happen to them if they refuse to fall in line. That's obviously going back to the conversation we had earlier. There's nothing to fear at this point in time. Things are already bad enough. There's no reason to hold back, and back to being just ad-libbing here. Back to my point of being honorable men. If we don't have our principles to stand by, then what do we have? There's nothing to fight for if we forget who we are. If we, as some people suggest, we beat the Jews at their own game, we stoop to their level. Well, I'm not a Jew, and if I start acting like a Jew, then what's the purpose? What am I fighting for? I'm fighting for who we are as a people. And again, I'm ad-libbing here, Mike, but if you haven't gone to the country of your ancestors and experienced these things firsthand, then there's nothing you're going to get from a book that's going to come anywhere close to that. The year I spent in Scotland did that for me. That's what pretty much started all this, going to the castles and just learning my history and Germany and all the other places I went to and stayed and actually lived in Europe exploring. You gain strength from that. You realize what we are as a people, as Europeans, are all about. And there's no way that I would ever compromise on who I am as a man, let alone who we are as a people. To continue on is just a little bit more. Their only focus or concern is to do the right thing. I'm talking about honorable men. Nothing more, but certainly nothing less. You have a clear conscience and no need for fear or to allow it to dictate your life. You just simply do what you know is right, and the chips may fall wherever they might. No worries, no concerns. Unfortunately, most people have adopted the wicked ways of the Jew as their own, to varying degrees, without even realizing it. The world they live in, and in fact the very concept of who they are, has been defined by an enemy that most are unaware exists. So a lot of our norms, a lot of the ways that we identify ourselves is based on the Jewish concept of the world, of our reality. They've defined what's right and wrong, what's moral, what's immoral. And most people don't realize this. I realize it, but I still have certain thoughts, the voice in my head, right, just whatever it may be, that I can recognize. Well, that's not who I truly am. So I recognize it so I can change it. But most people don't even realize, again, that their very definition of the world or their very concept of self has been deliberately altered. Just a little bit more, Mike, so I'm sorry. People know the difference between what is right and what is inherently wrong. Even when Jews manipulate the masses, they prey upon the inherent nature of the white man to do the right thing. This is a natural instinct, if you will. White people just inherently want to do the right thing. We can recognize right and wrong without a doubt. Of course, they pull this mass manipulation off by concealing the facts and dramatizing their lies, playing us like well-intended fools, and that's exactly what we are as a people. One such issue, and you brought this up earlier, so it's timely, one such issue would be immigration. They won't tell the white masses of the financial burden they are being forced to carry. They won't tell them they won't let them know the many ways they are being victimized, robbed, raped, and murdered by these immigrants. And they certainly won't inform them of the fact that immigration is being used as a Jewish tool of genocide against them. Of course not. Whites wouldn't stand for it even if we weren't the ones being targeted and suffering from it all. It is in our very nature to stand up and fight what we know, or in this case, what we believe to be wrong. So they not only convince us that we need to forsake our own interests to help out the less fortunate, and I put that in quotes, but they also convince us that not helping or resisting would be racist, hateful, and immoral. And since the average white person naturally prefers to do the right thing, we fall right for it. It's far too easy on them. They get us on an emotional level, and most never think beyond that. We're too busy fighting what they have convinced us to be the good fight to ever stop to think at all, let alone to actually think about taking care of ourselves for a change. Doing so would be racist after all. One more example here. Jew warmongers also prey upon the same uniquely white trait as well. With every war they have ever started, they use this basic method of motivating the white masses, convincing them that they are fighting the good fight to save the Jews or anyone else. The Jew media temporarily finds the need to portray as being the victims who are in need of saving. Of course, this changes periodically. One decade, the Russians, the Japanese, or the Iraqis are our friends, just to name a few. The next, they are an enemy that simply must be dealt with. So whites lined up to slaughter their fellow whites or to die for what they believe to be a fight for the freedom of non-whites in places like Korea, Vietnam, Iraq, or the many places in between. We have to help these less fortunate people, the non-whites, even if it means forsaking our own interests for people who would never consider returning the favor. Not that we need them to, but if we did, they most certainly would not. And in closing, they know that they cannot allow this truth to get out, not only due to their being grossly outnumbered, but they are also aware of the true fighting nature of their enemy. Speaking of whites, of course, but not whites alone. The Japanese and many other Gentiles are proud and honorable people who will fight without fear or hesitation for what they believe in, even if it's only in their best interest. Traits that Jews obviously lack. So they know they would be in deep trouble if the Gentile masses ever realized the truth and focused in on them. They live by deception and die by the truth. So why would anyone be surprised at the lengths they go to conceal the truth or to lead the dissent? And, again, that all ties into everything that we're talking about today. I hope it wasn't too long, but I did want to get it out there.
No, that was a great article there, or written speech, definitely. It hammered a lot of points home that you didn't even get a chance to really touch upon. That was really good.
I apologize. I just wanted to go ahead and get it out. I didn't know if you want a time constraint here or what. I actually got like 3 other pages of things that I wrote, but you know what? I'll make videos or something of it.
No, I mean, yeah, absolutely. I just thought you only had an hour this evening, so I was.
No, like I had mentioned to you, and not to get too far off track here, but I'm free, man, from here on out. Family's back in Florida, so I'm here, ready to rock and roll. Anytime you want to do a show, again, we just ad-libbed here. I didn't even know what we were going to talk about, and I think we do a good job together. So as often as you want to do a show, I'm here, man. I'm game. I'm ready for it.
Well, I would certainly like to do a lot more of these shows with you, Scott, and I'm glad that you joined us tonight, co-hosting this show with me, because it really turned out. We had a good turnout tonight.